Yeah, peeps. Yeah, man, it's Double H, back from the fatherland, guys. Sort of just been away, but even a person who works as hard as moi needs a little bit of a break. So, yeah, man, I am back in the mix. Double H. The Town. Now, this was a film that a lot of people preached about. They talked a lot about the film throughout the year and say, you got to watch this film, bada bing, bada boom, And I was like, look, man, Ben Affleck, I was like, oh gosh, Ben Affleck, the whole Boston thing. I just wasn't feeling the whole vibe from it. But on the airplane towards here, it was there, so I watched this actually on the plane coming back to Angleterre. And for me, I think to sum up Heat, I think Heat is. No, what am I saying? Sorry. To sum up the Town, I would say the Town is Heat's younger, more immature cousin. Now, people will say, okay, what does that mean? What does that mean? Obviously, people will say that it's unfair to compare, films and say, or keep on using the same film as a yardstick and as a benchmark. But I think the fact is, you've got to deal with reality. Anytime I see a sci-fi film, I'm always going to think about Blade Runner, and I will always compare it to Blade Runner. Every time I see a war film, I'll always think of Saving Private Ryan and compare it to Saving Private Ryan. So films that excel or at the top of their genres, you will always think about them whenever you watch another film in that same genre. So again, watching this, I was just thinking about Heat, and every time, even when I saw the trailer for Takers, I was thinking of Heat and Point Break, So yeah, the Town. I mean, for me, I think the best thing about the Town is that there's some very good performances in this. I'm not a Ben Affleck fan. I still feel he's in the wrong profession acting, but this is actually his best acting performance. But it doesn't not saying much because I don't think that acting is really his thing. But in this, he was good. He had the whole Boston accent well, but in those emotional things, it just seemed that he didn't really have. He doesn't have a great range, So when he really needed to bring something more to really extend his emotional capabilities, it just seemed like he was a bit stretched in a few scenes. But I mean, like, personally for me, I think what's it called? Chris Cooper deserves an Oscar nomination. Yeah, it was only one scene, but I think it's obviously not to the same extent, but it's the same idea with Marlon Brando in A Dry White Season with Donald Sutherland. Where I think he was like in two scenes. But in this thing, Chris Cooper only had one scene, and in that scene, it just showed you how amazing an actor he is. Because from that scene, you pretty much knew everything about his character and the quality of his acting made you also know about the relationship that he had with the Ben Affleck character and with the mother as well. So for me, I think that that was amazing, and I think the acting from everyone. I just heard out that Pete Postlewaite just died, man, which is obviously sad, because this is a guy who's been in a lot of films. He's like, as soon as you see his face, you're like, yeah, man, I know that face, and again, he was very good in the film. Jeremy Renner was very good. Jon Hamm was good. Again, he's not really a guy that I rate highly. Even though I've seen Mad Men and all that stuff, so he's not a guy I rate highly, but it was good. But I think the standouts guys really was were obviously the Pete Postlewaite, Jeremy Renner, and Chris Cooper. Who were like really really good. But I think performances across the board, and even the one woman as well. I'm not sure what her name is, but she was good as well. So I think everyone, there wasn't like a glaring weak link. So yeah, so I think it's her name is Rebecca Hall, I believe. Yeah, Rebecca Hall. Yeah, she was good. She was good. So yeah, and even as well, this woman in what's it called? In Green Lantern, Blake Lively. As the very messed up drug person, she was also good as well. She was good as well. See, everyone, pulled in the performances, but I think the film, the script, again, this is just when you have to think about, the good old ways of making films. Like, from the very beginning, when he just showed the whole Charlestown thing, you just think that, okay, from that beginning, when you're told about Charlestown, with the whole white writing on the black background, you feel like if we're not going to know about this Boston area, we're going to know about the streets, how these people live, their day to day, what is the aesthetic, what is the vibe of this Charlestown. And you didn't really get that. The film just seemed a bit too claustrophobic, too linear, and it was just pretty much about just the story, the very, very basics of the story of, like, these guys are criminals, they rob, and now a guy who wants to come out of it, and the police are trying to chase him. So it was very, very basic, and there really wasn't anything more to the film. Obviously, you saw. So again, if you had a stronger actor in Ben Affleck's case, like let's say you had Bale in Ben Affleck's position, then you would see that he would have probably given more, especially in those scenes with Rebecca Hall, and he would have probably given more in the scenes with Jeremy Renner as well, to give you more of a vibe about the character. But because Ben Affleck doesn't have that range, it just felt, the character and the story of him just felt very flat, and it's very so because I think, again, you really have to use Heat, because, like, Heat obviously is a great heist movie, with the whole heist and crime elements. But the thing about Heat is that it's just an amazing story. The story that just has, like, a very nice beginning, middle, and an end. That by the time you get to the end and the finale and the climax, you're like, wow, man, everything just really fits in together. And it's more than just a heist film. It's more than just cops and robbers. It's about these two guys who are from the opposite sides of the fence, who have a middle ground, and they share a middle ground, and they share a mutual respect for each other. So that was like that was like an underpinning of the film, hence why, which makes it such a classic, and the film that really stands the test of time, because it's something more. It gives you something of a more advanced level. But I think with this, the Town, I think the direction was good. I mean, especially with the whole crime scene, Ben Affleck did a very good job directing this film. And I think, for me, I feel that really this, again, the strongest part of this film with the performances. Jeremy Renner, he's a guy who, man, the guy's really notching up some good acting things, and obviously be interested to see him in MI4, but nobody is Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise cannot be beaten. Again, Chris Cooper, the guy, he's pretty much good in everything. Again, he was great in Capote, which is the last film I saw him in. And everybody was, and the films were really the strong parts. But I think Ben Affleck, obviously I haven't seen, is it Gone Baby Gone or something like that, the film with Casey Affleck. I haven't seen that, but from viewing this, this guy, I think, would think that probably directing is possibly something that he should probably focus more on rather than acting. Because again, if a stronger actor was in his position, so Mr. Ben could just focus on the directing, the film would have been better. But it was still a harder experience, but it would have been a better film. Because I think that, again, like, if I had to pick the weakest actor of the people who really had a strong role, it was obviously Ben Affleck. He was the weakest actor out of all of them, and his performance was not on the same level as Renner, as Cooper, and as Postlewaite, and even on the same level as Ham. But yeah, man, I mean, the Town, I think it is not as good as what people were saying. It's a good film. It's definitely a film I would recommend. And again, in the day and age where there are not many good films around, it is definitely one of the better films of the year. But you see, for me, like, I would say this was better than. See, for me, I enjoyed this more than Social Network. Because for me, Social Network is again, as a film, I forgot about the film. I enjoyed this more than Social Network, and I believe that I would say this is a better film than Social Network. I mean, it gave me more. But again, it's not to the level of, or the complexity, or the deepness of something like Money Never Sleeps, which was one of the best films of the year. So yeah, man, I just, good film, but not as amazing as people said it was. And again, man, Heat, watch that film again, man. Just watch that film. People who are preaching about Town and how amazing Town is, watch Heat again. Believe, bada bing.